Before communicative language teaching arrived, this was the dominant approach to teaching English as a foreign language in Britain for, decades. It shaped how teachers presented new language, how students practiced it, and how textbooks were written as well. So it's a really impactful method. This method is called Situational Language Teaching. Welcome back to our new channel, TESOL with Mickey and Ida. I'm Mickey, and today we're looking at situational language teaching, also known as the oral approach, or also known as structural situation approach. Not that sexy, but hey, let's talk about this one because it's quite important. It had a major influence from the 1920s to the 1960s, and its techniques are still used around the world today. Who would have thought it? Let's look at some background and key principles. So situational language teaching was developed by British applied linguists Harold Palmer and A.S. Hornby. They believed that speech is the foundation of language learning. So here are the key characteristics of the method. What's most important is that speech comes first. So learners hear and say new language before seeing it written. The target language is used as the main medium of instruction, so there's no L1 in the classroom. New language is presented in meaningful real-life situations or supposed real-life situations. Vocabulary is carefully controlled and focuses on essential everyday words. Grammatical structures are taught in graded sequence from simple to more complex. Reading and writing come later on. So the aim was for students to master, not keen on that word because it's such a high bar, but to master structures in situations where those structures naturally occur or should naturally occur, as we'll come to in a little bit. So what does a situational lesson typically look like? So a typical lesson follows a very clear sequence. For instance, step one would be listening. So the teacher models the new language several times in front of the classroom. Step two would be choral imitation. So the class repeats the model together. Step three is the individual imitation. So individual learners repeat the language to check accuracy. Step four is isolation. So any difficult sounds or words are practiced separately. And step five is building up. The teacher, in this case, connects what students already know to the new structure. So teachers rely on strong visual support in the classroom. This could include, anything like wall charts, it could be flashcards, it could be pictures, gestures, real objects, like things which are in the classroom. So we're coming back to realia. The teacher acts as a model, a conductor, and a monitor, and guides accurate production and watches out for errors. So here we see a really clear difference between situational language teaching and communicative language teaching, where one focuses on accuracy and one focuses on fluency. So a quick example of situational language teaching could be if the target structure is this is a, the teacher might hold up a watch and be like, this is a watch. Then they could point to the wall and be like, this is a clock. So in this case, students would repeat in chorus, and then you could nominate them individually to check the accuracy of their pronunciation. And the teacher would then isolate any difficult sounds before building up longer. An important thing that we get from situational language teaching is the PPP Legacy. So one of situational language teaching's biggest contributions is the PPP format, still used today, really useful, and actually is really good for new teachers especially. So the first P is presentation, and this is new language, or where new language is introduced in a meaningful context. The second P is practice, and this is where learners complete control tasks to reinforce accuracy. The last one is production, and this is where learners move into freer practice, using the language more independently. This format trained, it must be like hundreds of thousands of teachers worldwide. Like, I was taught with some of this as well, and it still appears in textbooks today. So if you look at the textbooks that you're using, it's actually worth looking at it to see if this structure is in there. As I mentioned, SLT has placed a strong emphasis on accuracy. So the aim was for learners to use accurate patterns without hesitation and almost automatically. So you're trying to move students to this area of automaticity where they just speak naturally, which, hey, if you're a language learner, is a great place to try and get to. So what about the theoretical foundations of situational language teaching? So these fit closely with behavioralist ideas about learning. So this is where knowledge is received, it's fixed through repetition, and then becomes automatic through practice. You develop this kind of pattern, and then when you go into a situation, it should just come out automatically. So in this case, learners acquire grammar inductively, so they understand what new forms mean based on the situation that they're in. Like, you go to a party and then you use this kind of language, or you go to the railway station and you use this kind of language. So it's important to remember that SLT, or situational language teaching, used a structural syllabus. Let's conclude and think about the relevance of this method. So by the end of the 1960s, critics argued that structures actually could not be reliably predicted from situations. And when you think about it, sometimes you go into a situation, things don't happen like you might expect them to. Therefore, the criticisms came about that meaningful communication actually required more than mastering patterns. Thank you so much for watching. Please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment, because it would help us so much as we try to build this new channel about TESOL. See you next time.